During the early 1950s, CIA began the experiment with the behavioral engineering of human beings throughout their Scientific Intelligence Division. Receiving 6% of CIA's total funds, the project took place in 80 institutions, universities, colleges, hospitals, and prisons. The test subjects were not volunteers. They were unknowingly and unwitting citizens of the US and Canada taken by CIA for testing. The goal of the project was simple: to find an effective method of controlling the mind of a person that they may have obey them of every command you give them. Many methods of these were tried with limited degrees of success. The first thing the scientists tried was the administration of LSD to the subjects. They understood that the drug was a way of distorting a person's sense of reality, meaning that they would be exploited easily to the bidding of whoever was in control. Beginning of April of 1953, CIA began taking people for testing: mental patients, addicts, etc., people who were unable to fight back. One case in Kentucky saw a mental person who was given LSD for 174 days straight in the hopes that he would spill his secrets and would clear his mind to allow it to be programmed, turning him into an unwitting agent for the US government. The government also tested out the effects of LSD on members to the public, usually admitted without their consent, and tested on reactions to the drug. During the Operation Midnight Climax, the CIA set up several brothels in San Francisco to obtain a selection of men. One inside was a brothel. The men were down with the drug. They were also studied by the government that scientists behind one-way mirror. They would be interrogated under the bright lights, creating a high pressure of situation, used to squeeze in the information right out of the person. The CIA found what it was influenced by the drug in high-pressure situation. People would begin to pour out their confessions. However, this was too stressful for some subjects, and during the interviews, several of the subjects suffered stress-related deaths, and minds of the others that we withered away, driving them insane. Eventually, LSD was dismissed by the CIA researchers was too unpredictable, and they said they found that LSD was not only the secret to unlocking the minds of people successfully, but due to many subjects dying or going insane right before they can get to the information they needed. This led to the withdrawal of a large number of researchers from the project. This did not stop CIA though, as they began experimenting with other kinds of drugs, which eventually led to what could be regarded as the whole thing that needed to stop the project. In the one test, involving the subject named by Sidney Greenwood, they injected barbiturate into one arm and the amphetamine on the other. The barbiturate was injected first, numbing the subject's senses and causing him to fall asleep. The subject was about to slip away into a comatose state. The amphetamine was released into his body, forcing him to stay awake. At this point, he began to babble incoherently. However, it was possible at times to ask him questions and get useful answers back. It seemed that they had succeeded. However, after the news broke out about the MKUltra project, the people began to act negatively towards the humane in the US government acted towards the American citizens. CIA burned thousands of files regarding the project, including the files after the effects of the tests. Due to technological advances, it has been possible for investigators to recover some of the burned files and restore the documents to an extent to which they were readable. Below is a record of the trials undertaken by Sidney Greenwood mentioned above. Project MKUltra. Dr. Jason Cattrall. Subject number 8374. Sidney Greenwood. Day 1. Injected subject with barbiturate and amphetamine. Subject is almost dream-like state, yet still awake. Subject is pretty much talking to himself, and he nods his head back and forth, side to side, as if though talking to people around him. I feel that I need to clarify the contentment of the room is empty. We will monitor his process. Day 2. Something happened. We begin to ask the subject questions about his life. He answers truthfully. We will press him more tomorrow and see what happens. Day 3. Amazing. Not only he will answer any question posed to him, but he is also in the illusion that he is owned by us. Good work. I feel the project may finally achieve its goal. Day 4. Shit, something's wrong. Went to go check on the subject this morning, and to find him bleeding from the eyes and frothing at the mouth. Place subject in isolation. We'll keep monitoring the process. Day 5. Still the same as day 4. 2 doctors working with the subject had taken ill. Leaving the site, complaining about the migraine headaches, subject remains in isolation. Day 6. This is it, I am done. This document is my resignation. Went to check on the subject this morning and he wasn't in isolation. Subject is still missing. He is out there. 2 members of security guards at the door found dead, their brains painted across the walls, both bodies found with bullet holes in the skull. I don't know who will find this document, but whoever it is, make MK Ultra unknown, not just about the tests, but what it does to the subjects who do survive. It makes them dangerous. Unsteo That is where the document ends. Dr. Jason Cattrall was found within the facility with his head lay upon the typewriter, his blood soaked into the paper. The escaped subject was eventually found fleeing the base. His eyes were bright red and foaming pouring out of his mouth. Once the subject was shot down by security, making an attempt to save himself, all members of the staff in the base left the other subjects there to die. There was a reason why a few people ever spoke of the MK Ultra once the information was released. The CAI had created the world's largest weapons, decisive tactical soldiers who would never question orders, and they would just leave them there to learn, to plan, and to prepare. Al Qaeda is not the greatest threat to America. The real enemy is a lot closer to home.